live on everything but Instagram.
What's up,
Instagram,
everything but Instagram?
Instagram will be live in a few seconds.
You got a mic too, James?
I do.
Holy shit.
I already set it up.
Let everybody kind of pile on in
All
for
right,
the live.
Instagram is going live. You're live on Instagram.
What's up, everybody? Let you guys kind of get into the room a little bit. Took a couple days on and off, resetting the studio up, getting some new equipment, getting some things figured out here. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I think everyone should be kind of getting into the room. Give Instagram another minute. They take a little longer. Today we're doing some Q&A. I got questions that you guys gave me on the on my Monday Q&A questionnaire. I'm going to answer them in here.
Or if you want to call in, I'm putting the link in the chat right now.
James, you can throw that link in the chat. Drop a question in the comments. So one of the questions was, how do I build a strong team of stylists? And I honestly, I get this question often. I answer it today in my stories. You need to be a strong leader to have a strong team of stylists. That's just the bottom line. The better you are as a leader, the more you could show up for your team. The level you show up for your team is the level they're going to show up for you. From my own personal experience, when I was spread so thin, when I was trying to do everything, wear every hat, I got nothing accomplished. I underdelivered, I overpromised, and my team just they weren't showing up for me because I wasn't showing up for them. I thought I was, like I was trying, but I was always falling short on the marketing, always falling short on being a leader, on the meetings, on the events, on the things around the salon, everything I promised, because I was doing so much. And that's why when people ask me, what do you do? Like, what do you do when you stop doing hair? There's so much stuff to do in the business. There's just so much you can do to grow and scale the salon for your team that when you're doing hair and you're stuck behind the chair, you don't even acknowledge it. You don't even know. And you're so shot by the end of the day, you push it off till tomorrow, then tomorrow's a brand new day, and then you have new clients coming in your salon, and then you're forgetting to do the things you promised your team. It's like an ongoing cycle, and it's never ending. It's brutal. So the one thing you do to build your team, and the one thing you could do to make communication better with your team is to take yourself out of the book for 1 to 2, maybe 3 days a week to focus on building the team. If you focus on building the team is focused on building the business, and then it's a win-win for everybody. You got into the salon industry for a reason. It was to do hair, obviously be your own boss, be an entrepreneur, but to lead people. If not, then you should have stayed in a suite or opened a 2-chair salon. But when you open a salon with 10 chairs or 15 chairs or even 5 chairs in it, to be honest with you, your job is to get people working behind those chairs and support them to the best of your ability. That's your job. If you make that your sole purpose and your focus, then you're going to succeed at that. When you make it a secondary focus, you're not going to succeed at that. If doing hair is your primary focus, then you have to put somebody in place to manage and run the team. So you heard me say in the past, it's always about who, not how. And I use that in the frame and the reference of you. Like it's always about who. People ask, how'd you do it? How'd you do this? How'd you get these many salons? How'd you do it on e-commerce? It's not about how, it's who. Yes, who you are as an individual. But also, who, not how means don't worry about how you're going to build a great salon. If you hire the who, if you hire a person to help you grow and scale the salon so you could focus on behind the chair and focus on the clients, then it's really easy. But when you try and do it all yourself, that's when it becomes difficult. So you have a couple decisions to make as an owner. Are you going to continue down this road of being burnt out, spread too thin, or are you going to scale back a little bit from your clients, pass them off to the team, and start taking responsibility for the business, which is the reason why you're a business owner in the first place? So let that sink in for a second. That was a really good question, by the way. How can I improve client retention? You just have to care. Like you have to care, and you have to over deliver on every promise that you make. That's it. If you follow up with every client, this is something I promise you. If you send a text or a phone call out to every single client when they leave your salon, especially first-time clients, asking them how the experience was, asking them how their hair is, you're going to increase retention rate dramatically. 100% you are. Like your retention rate may not be 100%, but 100% you're going to increase your retention rate. Just a simple text. Hey, Nancy, how was your visit to the salon? It was a pleasure meeting you. If you have any difficulty styling your hair, any problems or questions, please feel free to reach out to me. This is my personal number, or this is my number. Like something as simple as that goes a long way. Great, my hair is amazing. I love it. You're fantastic. And then, hey, if you have time, here's a link to my Google page. Please leave me a review. Love having you as a guest. Something that simple. Another way to increase retention rate, let me fix my camera here. Another way to increase retention rate is to sell retail. So there's a metric, I forget what it is. You increase your retention rate by, I'm going to throw a number out there. It's probably inaccurate, by 40%, let's say, by selling retail to your clients. And here's the reason why. When they go home and they go to do their hair, guess what product they're going to use? The one you sold them. Guess what they're thinking about when they use that product? You. So if you sell them a good product that they need, not some bullshit that your owner's trying to tell you to push, a product that they need, that's good, that delivers a result, they're going to think of you and they're going to be like, wow, I got to book an appointment. When that product runs out, they're going to think of you. When they're styling their hair and it's not styling right because it's been a while, they're going to think, wow, I might need a haircut. My color looks grown out. There's a reason why retail is important to sell. It's not just about making more money. That's just the icing on the cake. It increases retention rate dramatically. So that's another thing you could do to increase retention rate is sell retail. All right. What is the best way to manage salons' finances? Hire a bookkeeper. Hire somebody to manage the finances for you that you can meet up with once a week or maybe twice a month and get an idea of what's going on in the salon. Obviously, every morning you wake up, you take a look at your numbers, take a look at the day before, you take a look at that stuff, right? But managing the finances, it's a different part of your brain than being creative. And a lot of us as artists, we don't use that part of the brain a lot. We're just not, it's not our way of thinking, right? We're artists, we're creative, we do things. We actually spend like drunken sailors, half of us. So it's important for us to have someone manage the finances. Now, that's not to say that you may be great at finances as a salon owner and that's your thing, jam out with it. But the person asking the question right here is struggling managing the finances. So hire someone. Remember, it's who, not how. So maybe hire someone who loves doing that. One of the things I tell people all the time is what's your greatest excitement? Like, what are you passionate about? And just do that. Everything else, just delegate it or delete it. So for me, managing finances, it's crucial you understand the numbers. It's crucial you understand your KPIs and you know what your revenue is and you know what your retention rate is and you know what your finances are. But to manage it and organize it, you can delegate that if that's not your wheelhouse. If your wheelhouse is leadership and marketing and growing a team and doing haircuts, do that. But if you can't properly manage the finances, then hire someone who loves doing that and will do it in a manner that works well with you. Salon ownership and salon numbers is different than a lot of businesses. So you got to make sure you get somebody in there who understands the intricacies of like color cost and inventory and a lot of that. So it's a very different animal owning a salon and running a salon. There's commissions, there's sliding scales. So you got to make sure that the person fully understands what they're measuring. Because if you don't measure it, you're not going to be able to grow it. So it's really important that you do measure the numbers. Okay. How can I increase revenue? I love this question because this is something that I always focused on. And unfortunately, increasing revenue doesn't do much for you if you're not also increasing the profits at the same time. I was so focused on the big number, the top line revenue, like making that 1 million a year, making that 3 million a year, doing 150 every month. And I wasn't focused on how profitable I was. And all I did was increase my revenue every month, thinking that would make me more successful, when in reality, it did not make me more successful. It just caused more stress because I'm making more money. I need to hire more people, and yet I'm less profitable. Focus on being more profitable. Focus on your margins, but specifically look at the profits. That's what you focus on. So if you can increase your profit margin, like if you're working on an 8% profit margin, typically salons work on an 8 to 12% profit margin if they're structured in the traditional way. and you can get that from 12 to 15% to 20%, that's phenomenal. Most of my salons are running off, I would say, like closer to 30 because we do, we looked at the constraint in our business. We looked at things that were holding our profitability back. And that was, having W-2 employees, having 1099 independent contractors was a much better business model for us. Doing parts and labor is a much better business model for us. So I looked at the constraint of a business, and that's one thing I want you guys to take a look at. It's called the theory of constraints. Take a look at what's constraining or constricting your profits and then fix that. That's the only thing you should focus on. And once you get that fixed, you go to the next thing. So don't just focus on revenue, focus on profits. All right, let's take a look here. James, any questions in the comments?
Nope.
All right, cool. So, how do I handle salon leadership and management? The first thing I want to say to this person, leadership and management are two different things. I know they sound the same, but you're leading a team and then you're managing a team. What's the difference? A leader influences, a leader inspires, a manager manages. What does that mean though? Like, how are they different? A manager is going to look at the operations and make sure the tasks and operations are being done the way the operating procedures dictate. So if there's a standard operating procedure and it's done in a certain sequence, their job is to make sure it's being done in a particular manner, in a particular sequence. Now, a leader is less focused on that because that's why you hire managers. Your job is to influence and inspire the team. That's very difficult to do. If you think about all the highest paid CEOs of companies and all the greatest leaders in the world, that's a big accomplishment what they did. They take a company that's bankrupt and bring it to hundreds of $1 millions a year. You take a leader of the Marine Corps or the Army or whatever branch of service in the military, they take misfits from high school, quote unquote, like the bad seeds that get forced into the military. I'm not saying that's true for everybody. I'm just saying as the conversation unfolds right now, you take these group of kids that really don't have much going on in life. It was like, let me go to the Marine Corps. Some of them, this is just something that they didn't know where they were going. So a recruiter grabs them and they get thrown in the boot camp, right? Like I said, this is not for everybody. I'm a Marine. So granted, there's amazing Marines out there who chose to do this for the country, but there's also a lot of guys who were just like, I have no idea what to do. And so it's the Marine Corps or it's the Army. A great leader can take these gentlemen, ladies or gentlemen, and get them to form an alliance and move in a unit and take over a country, sometimes in less than 3 days on the other side of the world. So great leaders can do that. You don't manage them. The leaders don't manage them. So it's important that you understand the difference between a leader and a manager. You could do both if you're a salon owner. That's fine. You just can't do both at the same time. It's two different hats that you're wearing. So as a leader, you're wearing one hat, and as a manager, you're wearing a different hat. It's just you're gonna confuse your staff. So it's important that you understand those two different roles. Okay, metrics to track and monitor growth. If you're gonna look at one of your most important metrics, I'm gonna say your retention rate. If you are going to track a metric for advertising, I would track your customer acquisition cost. It's important to understand how much it costs you to acquire a new customer, because then you can tweak the ads and the money that you're spending to lower that customer acquisition cost. Now, how do you lower your customer acquisition cost? You lower it by increasing the lifetime value of that customer. You increase it by obviously your retention rate, the average order value, the average money that customer is spending per visit, the average ticket value. So there's a lot of things you could increase. So these are the things I want you to focus on: your retention rate, the frequency that each client comes to the salon, and the average ticket price. You look at those three numbers, and you got to make sure your retention rate is on point. Then you can increase your average ticket price, and then you try and get them in the salon one more visit a year. If you do all that, your business will go up dramatically over the course of the next few months. So let's see if I missed any questions here. James, any questions over there?
1099 independent contractors, should they be on 50/50 or they should be on 30%? My red hot lips 50.
So if you're an independent contractor, that's up to the discrepancy of the owner. First off, that's how expensive is that space that you're being an independent contractor in. Typically, I start at 50/50. And then I go up in 5% increments from there. Every $1,000 goes up 5%. So you don't get 70% until you break 5,000 a week, which is completely doable, to be honest with you. And for anyone who hasn't broken $5,000 a week, it's 100% doable. You could do it. You have to change your mindset around what's possible, and you'll accomplish that. But yeah, so being an independent contractor and getting a commission as an independent contractor, there's no commission like structure that's guaranteed, right? It's all relevant to the space that you're in. So if I was on Fifth Ave in the city and I was working out of Manhattan, my rent's going to be really expensive. So I can't give 70%. But if that person were to rent a little piece of property or a little room on Fifth Ave, they're going to pay a lot of money for it too. So it has to be justified with the value of the building that you're in as well. There's a lot of variables in what commission structure you give. Mine, where I'm at here in Fairfield, it's 50 up to 70. The one in Florida, same thing. The one in Chatham is a little different. It's a more expensive unit. So if you're working in a salon, just like if you were renting a space somewhere, you actually had to buy property somewhere, the more valuable that piece of property is, the more expensive it's going to be. So the less commission you're going to receive. Hope that made sense. James.
Yeah.
Any more questions in there?
No questions.
All right, cool. All right, guys, we're going to be switching out our times for the lives. We might alternate throughout the day. I'm not sure if we're going to pick a regular time. Might do it in the morning, might do it in the evening, but we're trying out different times to see which one's more accessible for a lot of people. But if you have any questions or you want to come on a podcast or come on a show, shoot me a DM. I'll bring you on as a guest and we'll just we'll chop it up. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.
Adios.